Hello, everybody. This is Heather W. Today is Friday, July 11th, and I kind of wanted to hop on today and just show you some of the additional summer projects that I currently am working on. And this right now, what you can see here is my bulletin board. Um, I was inspired to create this bulletin board, oh my gosh, weeks ago. And it started out with me wanting to kind of create a bulletin board set that had to do with kind of bees and I don't know, honeybees and hives, and then it kind of evolved into what you're going to see today. So I'm kind of just learning how to do the really good parts of it and learning about like really creating a good product line and planning my products, thinking about maybe if I wanted to create something a little bit more, I'm just gonna make some adjustments to see here. Maybe to create something with a little more creativity and flair, and maybe also making it your own, but also, I don't know. There's just so many different aspects to creating products for TPT that I just felt like I wanted to kind of hop on today, maybe walk you through a little bit about my process and also show you one of my resources that I'm working on. This is actually one of my favorites. um, this is a template, by the way, a bulletin board template from Flapjack Factory. She has a number of different templates, but also training videos where she actually shows you how to create resources like this, especially on PowerPoint, which we know PowerPoint is like, the easiest way for TPT sellers to kind of create products and sell them versus using Canva or, another program. So I'm just going to walk you through what my product looks like and talk you through some of the ideas that I had in creating it. So I hope you enjoy. So this one is I guess I call it the beehive bulletin board set, although I'm not sure there's any beehives, but there are many bees. And so it's called Blooming with Bright Ideas. It's a bulletin board just for teachers to kind of think about. They can kind of post different types of student work. Different different students, projects or activities on the board, and different ideas that they have about starting the school year. So I just thought it'd be like something fun and exciting. And of course, these are the different I'll just use it this way. These are the different bulletin board designs that I have created. So I'm going to walk that down. And now here is these can be used either as bookmarks, or you could also use them, I believe, like if you have used them as labels. And then, of course, what's really nice about these bulletin board sets is that anything that has main title, insert, or your text here is editable for the teacher. So really what I'm working on is more the design aesthetic for it. So see, for example, I want to make sure everything is seamless and, that the images are exactly where they should be. So I want to make sure that they're kind of not too high. You can see I'm actually making some adjustments as I review, because today's the final of this product and I'm putting it away. I'm done. I want to post it in the store, and I'd like to kind of just move on to the next design that I have, which is about frogs and oceans. So I'm just kind of, fine tuning and tweaking here and there. These are of course, the calendars, and of course I have the dates, I have the months listed, but again, here where it says your text, the teacher would be able to add all the student names for the calendar. Then I have of course the bunting for happy birthday. Now I do a little trick here, is basically I create what I do is I update the main or the first slide, because of course it's letters. And if you'll see, when you work with different types of, when you create templates or you work with templates, to edit it's very layered. So in order to edit it, you'd have to move it. So what I do instead of doing that is I delete all of the other ones. I keep the main one. I edit it exactly with the color and style that I want. And then I just duplicate and change the letters or the font as needed. Here's my calendar. So I wanted, again, I want to keep that whole aesthetic of the bees and the learning and the, you know, the buzzworthy learning, and also kind of just the beautiful aesthetic of like nice and bright and cheery for children. So here's the calendar. And then I also did it in black for teachers. Now you could also alternate, which is January yellow, February black. It's all dependent on the teacher, kind of how the teacher feels. These are extra buntings that I have. Anything marked with an X in my specific templates, the teachers can edit on their own. So they can kind of also create their own. Here are just some labels that the teachers can also create. I'm wondering, let me see if I can show you something fun. So here's one style with the main kind of floral digital paper, but I'd like to maybe see if I could add something else. Let me see if I can insert. I'm gonna actually go to the picture format. It's a little tricky because I'm not looking at. Let me just see something. Let's see. Picture effects, no. Layout. I actually want to do something a little different if I can here for the insert. Let me see. This device. Gallery. No, not my gallery, my desktop. Let me type in beige. No. Yellow. Sometimes it's a little tricky because there we go. Bee. Here we go. So here's all the honeybee folder that I have. And these are not them. These are actually the bumblebees. And then I also have digital paper. And I have some chevron paper, but it's not going to exactly match. So, I actually want to I want to give the customer, right, or the person who is purchasing this, let me see. So I would like them, so I'm going to just slide it over. I would like to give them kind of a little bit of a little bit of variety in terms of some of the labels that I have here. So let's see. It's design, formatting the background, and here we go. Now what we could do is a pattern fill, but it's pink. I don't want pink, so I'm going to go back to the yellow, and I'm going to actually give some maybe polka dots, and I want to make sure they are the polka dots that I like. And I think this is cute. So you see, like, I'm actually, all I'm doing, you know, with my products here is I'm kind of, let me make sure that it's centered. Yes. So I'm going back to like kind of give the customer or give the person who's purchasing this, or I might even wind up printing this for one of our classrooms for the ESL teachers that I work with. And I just want to give them kind of a little bit different variety. But because the outline is yellow, I want to change. Let me see if I could change that outline. Maybe it could be something, the shape outline. I want the shape fill, maybe it could be a little bit, maybe like the mustard to like stick out a little bit, you see? So it kind of pops a little bit more, and then whatever text the teacher wants to put, they certainly can. So, you know, that's what's nice about this. You kind of get to play with the different, let's make sure it's centered there. So again, so you see here, the teacher can kind of use the traditional digital paper, or they can change it. Here's again some other like labels that the teachers can make. And of course, the font is a little different. Let me just slide that over. And it's actually the font that I want to switch and make it more censored. So I'm just kind of taking I guess like an inventory of the product itself right before I place it in the TPT store, because I want to make sure that it's something that is created well, it's angled correctly, so that when teachers are kind of working, you know, to try to put it in their classrooms, or they want to print it and laminate it, it's kind of organized, and I want to make sure it has that. So I feel like my white part, let me just see. Is it there? I'm going to scroll back. Give me a minute. There we go. That should be go over. Perfect. Right there. Okay. All right, I'm going to scroll down. Anything where it's kind of your text here, this is for the teachers to kind of, so, oops, sorry. So this is kind of for the teachers to kind of edit and kind of do as their own. So you can see what I'm going to do. Scroll up. Sometimes here we go. So I'm going to try to change the font. Yep, the font. I'm going to change all the fonts if I can. There we go. So I'm going to change all the fonts to black. Make it a little easier. And I think here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate this. And I'm also going to create one with all the fonts in maybe like a bright yellow. Maybe the mustard to pop. Let's see. Still doesn't quite pop. Let me see. Mustard, it doesn't quite pop. You see, so sometimes you can do it. I'm going to delete this slide here. Sometimes you can do it, but then other times, like it, that color or that font is not going to pop out. So I want to make sure I'm not going to put that there. Let's see. Again, these are all different kind of, markers and labels that that teachers themselves can use. Here are numbers, and you can see I haven't changed the color of the number. That's the outline. So the outline, no, that's different. So for these, you have to actually do it this way. I remember that. So hold on, I'll just bring you down to like the rest of the products. So here's orange, different colors. I actually personally, I'm going to be honest, these are a part of like my product. I don't include them because I just feel like they're just so bland. Like what are we going to do? We're just going to print a sheet and laminate it. And I've seen different styles where individuals or other sellers are like kind of writing the word orange and putting orange different objects. So I'm not sure. I feel like what I probably am going to do is just kind of create a separate color product for posters, but typically this is not in my template. Here's just some different covers that I use. Groups, if the teachers want to create different guided reading groups or learning centers. Class helpers poster, and different different helpers. I tried to create as many as possible. For example, here we've got the janitor, the gardener, the lunch helper, the backup, the chair stacker, captain, light switcher, line monitor, the pet keeper, calendar helper. The sink and soap assistant should be just a little higher. Bingo. See? So, and then of course, here's kind of like a little, your text here. If the teacher wants to create their own kind of little fun poster, they can. I wanted to leave that flexibility. And again, I gave some different styles of like kind of covers as well. This is one of my favorites because I had an idea. I went ahead and added like the little digital kind of florals that I thought were very pretty. And of course, these are other labels that teachers can use. The insert here, these are class labels for the desks. And of course, all the teacher has to do is type in the student's name. So for example, my son's name is Matthew, and I'm gonna, Matthew, and I'll just add his last name, Frank. That's not really his last name. I'm just telling you, but now you can see kind of how it would look for a student, right? For a student's name. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna write back insert text here. Let me just make sure. Insert text here, just so you can see how that actually looks in life, how the product would look as you're working on it. And these are some blank ones in case the teacher just wants to print it, laminate it, and just write the student's name, maybe with like a Sharpie, and then you can erase it at the end of the year. I wanted to give options here. And these are, of course, additional labels, just additional like options that the teacher can use. And then, of course, I did numbers here. I like the way I did the numbers here, which is I think why if I scroll backwards to the other small calendars, These are nice too, but if you notice, they're so close together that sometimes I think when teachers are printing it, it's a little tricky and everything gets kind of, it's like so close. So I think that I kind of went more with providing a little bit more space with the number markers here. And then, of course, here's a calendar. Now, I've created multiple calendars like this. I don't know that it's so helpful for teachers, but the template is there if you want to kind of create your own monthly calendar. All you would have to do as a teacher is, again, duplicate it, and then you'd write your day. Like, let's say month one is going to be, oops, sorry. Let's say that month, let me go back, make sure that's centered. I don't like when they're not centered. Sorry. All right, I'm going to duplicate that slide again. Now I'm going to go here in the header and I'm going to say September. And if it doesn't pop as much to me. So I think what I'd like to do is kind of look at the font color, maybe give it like a bold font color, maybe bold it. And I do believe that I was able to add some recent like fun fonts here to my TPT, to my PowerPoint. So I'm going to play with the fonts. Maybe the Antiqua is nice because it's simple and easy to understand. Then I'm going to expand the font. But here's the thing. If it doesn't kind of fit, you just extend it so it does fit. There you go. And you can raise it up a little bit. And you have, here we go, the month of September. And then if you wanted to do October, then of course, as you're typing your months, you can just write, the date, fill in the dates where it's X, and then your text here is your official, teacher calendar. So I'm going to write here, I'm just going to keep it as your text so that anyone who wants to kind of work on it, this is their, you can see that it is like a very easy to use kind of font, easy to use product. All right. Now, and I just want to make sure the font is the same. Century Gothic. I don't want to make sure that go back to Century Gothic. Bingo. And it should not be bold. Let's get the bold out. Perfect. Okay, so now, of course, a welcome sign. And I played with this welcome sign so much just to kind of see what I could do differently. And I also wanted everything to pop as well. I wanted the letters to pop. So what I did, so that it doesn't look too much like yellow, 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 I have the black with the white outline, if you notice what I did there. So I have a welcome sign. And then here's a word wall. And I wanted to kind of do something fun and alternating with the letters for the colors. So here's how I did it. I made sure to include a black outline on all the letters so that it could pop and I could use alternating colors. So that's fun. I wanted to make it fun for the teacher. And then, of course, wherever you see X, whatever you want to do as the teacher to have fun with like the product, that's all you. And just remember, sometimes because of the, just the nature of it, you may have to kind of center your own like letters as well, because sometimes things move around when we're downloading them or working on them. So all you have to do, you just highlight that letter. Sorry, you just highlight the letter, and right here, there you go. See, it's right nice and centered. And you could also change the colors. So that's the thing. I left it so that you could change your own colors and fonts wherever you see, again, your text here in X. Again, more labels. And that's it. This is kind of my TPT product. I'm going to go back to the letters and I want to give you a chance so you could see how I do the numbers. Let me see if it'll work. No, that's white. Let me go back to the white. But the outline, if we could go, though, I have to do a shape outline, I think, for that. No. This one's a little tricky. This one always sticks me. And then it's like, I always think it's harder than it actually is. But I'm going to see if I can slide these down. And text. No, that's the different. If you looked at, I think you've got to go to the other text option. And I'm wondering if it's not the edges. Nope, that's not the one. It's much easier than, here we go, text outline. It was right there for me. So all I have to do is now change the text outline. I'm going to see if I can switch the text outline to a yellow. How would that look? It doesn't quite pop. So I'm going to go back and see if I could do a mustard. It still doesn't pop. I'm going to choose your traditional black. And then I'm just going to, I'll leave them here. Let me close the format shape. And then I'm going to go ahead and that, but I also want the, hold on. I don't think they are fully centered. And are we centered a little bit more? Yeah, it's a little tricky. There we go. Are we centered? Let me see. Much better. And let me just scroll the white down. So, let's see. There we go. All right, now we are centered. So you could now, there we go. I want to make sure they're centered. I don't like when they're not. Now we are centered. Okay, so now what I could, because I want to do up to numbers 35, I could just go and do the same thing for all of them, but which I probably will. I think that's just going to be the easiest thing for me to do. So I'm going to make sure I highlight all. And I'm going to go to shape format. How did I get it again? Shape outline. I'm going to go back to shape outline. It's shape outline. Here we go. So if you go into your drawing section and you click that little box, that will open up the text options for you. So I'm going to go to text options, color. It's not purple. I want black. I'm going to go, okay, now I'm going to bring this back up. And everything should already be centered. So I'm going to try to make sure that it's there. And now I'm going to go to the last one. I'm going to keep that opened. I'm just going to highlight anywhere in the box. I'm going to go to text options. Text options. That one. I don't want purple. I want black. So I'm going to bring this right back up and close it. So here's what I'm going to save it at. I'm going to click on save to make sure all the changes I have here are saved. And there it is, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this one. So thank you so much for joining me on editing my TPT product, my bulletin board. That one is officially, that the bees with the buzzy bees learning is, I think that's kind of done for me. The next one I'm working on is one with frogs. So hopefully I want to kind of bring you again this whole summer. I kind of just want to bring you in on all the fun and excitement that I'm doing with working on in my TPT store, but also working on other projects during the whole summer. And I'm so excited to have you join me. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you soon. Bye.